Greetings everyone, I'm Core II and welcome to another More Mobs update showcase. This is Snapshot 3C, the last snapshot in the 3 lineup. That means that the next snapshot will be 4A and it will include 6 mobs instead of 5 for the first time ever, all of which will be nether related. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This version is made for 1.15, so please don't try to play it in 1.16 yet. Don't forget that this pack requires Optifine in order for the mob textures and models to work. This video will not be covering changes in previous snapshots or have an installation tutorial. Check the description for a link to our official wiki if you want to know any of that information. Now let's finally get into the update. First and most important update, the pack has been rewritten in multiple areas multiple times. That means that there is a new file structure for all functions. A global.ignore tag is now utilized for compatibility and the pack format no longer relies on the version. This update also improved performance hugely. This rewrite also impacted mob spawning. All mobs now spawn only in their proper dimensions and all spawning conditions now work more accurately and no longer test for player location. The reset location button is now gone from the panel as well as its function file. Skeletons no longer become demons in the nether unless they're inside of a fortress. And Ender Phantoms now spawn in the absence of an Ender Dragon, not the presence of a player with the Free the End advancement unlocked. More mob creatures no longer spawn from mob spawners. Example, spider spawners are no longer miner spawners. Speaking of which, the miners now have a new mechanic. If they can reach a diamond pickaxe lying on the ground, they will pick it up and drop their iron pickaxe in exchange. Also, miners can now spawn with enchanted pickaxes. Mummies can also spawn with enchanted swords and shovels in this version. Now some rain changes. The illusioner spawning has been reworked. Now witches can no longer summon illusioners into the raid. And there can only be up to 3 illusioners per wave. Witches that have been replaced by miners due to meeting spawning criteria like being in the Badlands biome will now summon miners capable of joining raids, which means that the newly spawned miners will become part of the raid in which the witch has spawned. Miners also drop ingots instead of cores if they die while burning. Speaking of the drops, they have been nerfed for most of the mobs in the pack. Now let's get into the really big visual changes. The scoopers have been retextured and remodeled, as well as nether spiders. Cave creeps, cave creep hides, cave creep banners, and cave creep heads have also been modified, along with all of the spawn frames for the mentioned mobs. Also, the miner spawn frame has been updated to match 1.14. Speaking of which, the spawn frames are no longer called spawn eggs. They have a new model and texture, and when put in your head slot they will display as masks. Don't ask why. Now back to the mobs. Scoopers will not get damaged if fed beetroots. They will only accept poisonous potatoes or nether spider chelicera now. The repopulating hell advancement has been changed accordingly. Scoopers now drop actual food. It is scooper meat and it restores 6 saturation points or 3 drumsticks. The offspring scoopers will no longer despawn in this version, but their parents will. Speaking of which, in the last video I forgot to mention the new tagging mechanic. If you want to prevent any more mob's creature from despawning, use a name tag on it. The mob will also no longer despawn upon leaving the dimension or world. Nether spiders are now slower if their hunch hasn't been broken, and will no longer have the same capacity for health as they did prior to their hunch breaking, after it had happened. fire-resistant mobs used to get damaged if spawned in fire or lava, which has been fixed. Mobs were also pretty loud, miners and dragon ghosts. That's fixed too. Speaking of that, Marius now avoid fire and lava better. More mobs creatures can no longer summon zombie reinforcements. Ender sentinels are no longer enemies with villager mobs, except for golems of course. And city chests now include wanderer flesh instead of beetroot seeds, which now restore 8 saturation points instead of 6. UPK's YouTube channel was added to the credits, as well as Zoe and G Reaper were also added to the credits. Now on to some last but not least changes. You can no longer dupe items by breaking the crafting station. Crafting stations also have a 1 second delay for crafting now. If the process is interrupted, their bar will go down. This block will now also place properly on all surfaces in the game, except for portals, but they will be given back if you attempted to place one against the portal. And if you place one inside of a small block, the block will drop. Example, sea pickles. There's a new recipe. Now you can craft soul sand by surrounding sand or red sand with corrupted souls. That's it for this one. Make sure to update your worlds to this version for huge performance improvements and tweaks while you wait for 4A. Thank you everyone for your continuous massive support of this project. I can't appreciate you enough. Make sure to check out my Discord for all updates about the pack's development. Smash subscribe, ring my bell, and as always, stay.